Hey everyone, I've got all my First Lite Whitetail outerwear gear here. I want to do a rundown of each piece, the temperature ranges that I found to be effective for each one. Also go through my layering system to get to that temperature range that I found to be effective for each one. Then I'll also give you my thoughts on each piece as if I thought it was worth it or not and kind of how it felt while wearing. So I've got the phase system here, the core system, and the Thermic. These are all the new Whitetail First Lite outerwear gear. I'll start with the phase, which is their warmest season. I really found this to be an effective piece with that windproof, and you can wear it all the way down, I found, into the high 20s. Basically, after the low 30s, it gets kind of uncomfortable. You have to really bulk up, in my opinion. So having the core, I would rather switch to that at low 30s. But the phase system is really nice, all the way from 50s to low 30s if you layer right. To get down to the 30s, I had to wear the wick wool base layer, and then also the furnace, and then the source jacket to be able to get down that low. And by the time you get all that on, you're kind of bulky, whereas I found it easier just to switch to the core, and you could move around a little bit easier and it's more comfortable to sit for longer periods. But in my opinion, the phase is definitely worth it, especially if you had the Whitetail Catalyst piece before. You're just going to get a lot more temperature range out of this phase, and I found it to be pretty quiet. I really like the magnetic kit link pass-through system, which all of these have that. I really found that to be very comfortable and helpful. Just really comfortable to sit with your hands tucked to your chest and keep them warm. So I found that to be really effective. I highly recommend the phase, but those are the temperature range, basically 50 to low 30s. Some people are probably a little bit warmer than me and could maybe get down into mid 20s, but for me, that's what I found most effective for this piece. Also, I should say, when I was into the low 30s, it was about 10-mile-an-hour winds. So if you do have higher wind chills, you might not be able to get as low either. Moving on to the core system. This one I found to be really comfortable. It's easier to move. I found it to be more comfortable in the Solitude. I really like the new cut here, so it doesn't come up into your face. So if you're shooting a bow, found that to be really helpful. It seemed to be almost a little bit looser and just easier to move for me, and I really like the feel of the core jacket. Like I said earlier, the Solitude was my favorite piece, and the core is probably my favorite piece out of all of these. Just easy to move in. You can layer it up and get down in the low 20s pretty well. After that, I switched to the Thermic, so I didn't really test this on as low as I could get because I really wanted to test out each piece of gear and give you my thoughts on each one. So you could probably get maybe into the teens if you layered right with this, but I only wore it into the low 20s, and I found it to be fine with a little bit of layers underneath of that. I really like the bibs. You know, that little the bibs have this little new snap piece here, and then you can also buckle it up, so when you are walking to your stand, you can zip them all the way down, let the air flow, and you don't have to worry about them flopping all over the place. They stay together pretty well. So I really like that. Like I said, the core is probably my new favorite piece of gear from First Lite for their Whitetail series. Moving on to the Thermic. I almost want to say that the Thermic is warmer than the Sanctuary 2.0, but I can't say for sure because I never really got super low temperatures. The lowest I got was single digits, and I never got cold in this one, and I hardly ever got cold in the Sanctuary 2.0s either. One thing I will say is the jacket, with having a little bit more bulk into the chest area and your midsection, it's not quite as comfortable when you're sitting there as the Sanctuary 2.0 was for me. I didn't find it to be an issue though when shooting a bow. I could still shoot my bow accurately even in sitting in a chair. So I found that to be really nice. The bibs having that line on your core seemed to really help keep me warm. But like I said, it does add a little bit more bulk into your midsection, so you'll definitely notice that if you did have the Sanctuary 2.0 before. Both of them are extremely warm, and I still have yet to get freezing cold in either one of the two pieces. So definitely for the cold weather, I highly recommend having the Thermic, or if you have the Sanctuary 2.0, they are definitely great pieces. I do really like the chest pockets a little bit more on this whole whitetail gear than from the previous versions. So that is a new upgrade, and that magnetic hit link system is really nice. It can cause a little bit of noise, but I never had it be an issue. You just kind of have to make sure that you're kind of paying a little bit more of attention, especially if something's kind of coming in. You want to move a little slower and not just let them snap together really quick. But if there's any wind, it's not going to be that loud that they're going to hear it. But if it's really quiet, you can hear that and notice it. Overall, it's a great solid system. I highly recommend having each piece. Just there's definitely weather that each one fits you perfect for. So it's nice that they offer different pieces. I know some people have asked me questions on if you can get all the way into the 20s with the phase and just not buy the core, but to me, I'm just a lot more comfortable in the core when it gets into those 30s and into the higher 20s. Especially, you know, if you're going on those rut hunts where you might start off the hunts 20 degrees, maybe high 20s, and it's going to get almost to the 40s. It's just nicer to have this so you can sit there all day and be comfortable, not be cold, and it's going to help you sit longer and hopefully bring you more success. So one thing I wanted to mention is the different color variations of each piece. Hopefully you can see this on the camera here, but the Thermic is going to be just like the Whitetail Catalyst, the Sanctuary 2.0s, and the Solitude colors. It matches those really well. Whereas the core is a little bit darker, kind of a little more dark green tone to it. The phase with that more fleece outer, it's a little bit lighter than the core, but just a little bit darker than the Thermic. So hopefully you can see that. If that's something that bothers you, that they don't all match, I just wanted to point that out. So hopefully that'll help you if you can't get in the store to see these, but there is a little bit of different color variations in them. Hope you found this to be helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will answer those. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. Like I said, I hope you found this to be helpful. Thanks for watching. If you did find this to be helpful, please subscribe to my channel. It really means a lot to me. As always, stay hidden and good luck out there. Hey everyone, it's Joe with the Hidden Outdoors, and I got the new First Lite Phase Kit. This is new for this year, and I'm going to be comparing it to the First Lite Whitetail Softshell Catalyst. New from First Lite, I have the core, jacket, and bibs here. Is it worth the upgrade? What's the main differences? And is this going to be my new favorite piece of whitetail gear? New from First Lite is the Thermic, which is replacing the Sanctuary 2.0. I'm going to go over the new Thermic and how it compares to the Sanctuary 2.0, and then give you my opinion on if it's worth upgrading or not.